Okay, is everybody ready?
Good.
Let's see, am I live on YouTube? It still says waiting for GeologyHub. I believe that we are live. Okay. So, greetings, everybody. This is GeologyHub. Most of you haven't seen my face. And today we will be flying a drone remotely. So I'm in Arizona, but I have the joy of flying a drone remotely in Iceland over the eruption site of the Reykjanes Volcano, which still is not... Well, it was erupting, and there will still be some activity, but it may have already actually ceased. Regardless, this will be a fun experience. However, because I am receiving this flight for free from natureye.com, I need to reiterate that this is a sponsored segment, because normally that flight would cost a little bit of money, but I'm receiving it graciously from them for free. So now we will take off from this remotely fly drone, and here we go. Come on, you just remotely start the process. It's not giving me the button for some reason. The takeoff sequence. Yeah, there we go. Popped up. Into the flight ceiling you desired, 40 meters. Let's go 50. I quickly turn the camera towards our desired location. Good morning, everybody. I know it was a little bit early for my US dominant audience. Quickly tilt the camera down. Now we're going to fly towards the eruption site. Also, for the co-pilot who's helping me out here, please change direction and redirect me if I'm going in the wrong orientation.
Sure you go, Tim. You can head straight for that mountain just off center to the right in the distance.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Over here,
that
yes.
One. Awesome.
So yes, conditions in Iceland currently are somewhat cold, yes, for Iceland, but light snow, maybe a centimeter or less on the ground, hence the uneven coverage. What you're looking at is mostly subglacial lava deposits from early Holocene, late Pleistocene eruptions on the ground. I'm going to quickly pan down. If any of you have ever been to Iceland, you'll see all these tiny rocks. These are boulders from just subglacial eruptions, because this area used to be completely covered with an ice sheet many thousands of years ago. And this is very difficult to walk on. Lots of boulders, lots of your hiking boots getting stuck. Hence why during the prior eruptions, they created a neat pathway for everyone to go through, because it was otherwise quite difficult. I'm going to tilt back up. What's the current wind speed?
The current wind speed is about 10 meters a second,
Okay.
36
I'm
kilometers an hour.
a little bit of pushback, but not too bad. So we are now about to enter the edge of the lava field. I'm going to quickly turn up the zoom. Let's just... So yes, you can see the active smoldering of the lava flows here. These are all basaltic. You can still see a little bit of lava, but this is just merely material which has already erupted, but is just actively cooling. Reminder that some lava flows can take 5 to 10 years to cool. However, most of what erupted isn't actually that thick, so I don't think this will be the case here. But this will also smolder a little bit. You see a little bit of blue hue coming out of that fumarole or gas plume. The little blue hue is sulfur dioxide. I mean, you can't technically see it, but when it interacts and you get a little bit of blue hue, that is sulfur dioxide. I'm going to quickly zoom back to 1. Yes, everybody, this is the Reykjanes Volcano right now. Let's zoom in again. Let's see how high the central spatter cone is. So I initially thought this might have been about 9 meters or 30 feet. It doesn't appear to have grown much since then. So, wait, no. I'm trying to see if there actually is lava being emitted or if this is what we call so some of the lava that you're seeing, I'm not actually sure if it's erupting or if it's merely the motion of the entire flow just pushing some of it naturally up. It could be either. I'm not 100% sure which is the case right now. I go back to 1 zoom. Let's tilt down a little bit. Yeah, you can see a little bit of light snow. I'm just going to pan a little bit to the left so we can get a good view. Yeah, it does not appear that stretched out here. I was most concerned that this lobe would go and then just head in that direction first, go east, then go west, but that did not occur because it's currently fairly motionless. You can see a remnant of one of the older fissures, the northernmost lobe here. Up. Yes, I'm at flight level 158.7 meters, and we are going fairly close to the central spatter cone. Do you think it's okay if I go directly over it? I don't want to risk the drone just in case.
Yes, Tim, it's fine. I just hovered over it today to take pictures. You can still see a little bit of lava glowing on the right side of the cone.
Yep. Let's quickly zoom in. Go back to zoom 2. So yes, although the experts are calling this eruption is potentially not over, I'm pretty confident that this eruption is over. Yes, there might still be molten rock underneath, but there shouldn't be really much expansion of the current lava field. I'm going to quickly zoom in to lava, see if we can notice any individual fragments. What you're seeing here is what we call a crater row. A crater row is essentially a fissure, but it has spatter cones. During certain eruptions, like Lackey can have cinder cones, but that did not occur here. There's no ash. All of the cone is lava, hence it being a spatter rather than cinder cone. So I'm going to quickly zoom in. Just giving everybody a cool view of just some burning material. In this very area, there should be fumarole deposits that will form soon. So much like you saw after the 21, 2022, 2023 eruptions of Fagradalsfjall, this area will soon be covered in sulfur deposits, but it takes a little bit of time for those to be deposited. So I'm going to take a photo and then zoom back out. Let's go right over the central cone, the largest. Tilt down. Trying to get stationary over it. And here we are, yes. This is what is left of Reykjanes eruption. So early indicators suggested that this eruption, so I thought it started at 250 cubic meters per second. More official numbers suggest it may have started around 400 cubic meters per second. And that's just absurd. Yet, almost every single 24-hour period, we got a 90% decrease, a 60% decrease, and then a 70% decrease. So it dropped below the 3 cubic meter per second threshold around about 12-ish hours ago, and that's when the eruption ended. Let's quickly check YouTube comments. Yeah, you guys are pointing out that the eruption was just the start. Maybe, so I'm going to quickly pan up and show you guys the lava field in the distance from prior eruptions. So I'm just zooming up. So you see all these units in the background of the, so there's the 1240 lava field, there's the 1150-ish lava field, all of this, which I'm now pointing the camera towards. There, remember, we use radiocarbon dating for many of these where there was a plant or something, lava flow went over it, hit the plant, buried it, and we can date it. Of course, there is also physical historical records from people that witnessed the eruption. And there is legitimate possibility for some of the older eruptions that what we thought was one singular large eruption may have simply been multiple very, very closely spaced smaller eruptions. We don't know exactly which of those is the case, but the recent eruption, just its strange behavior really suggests that we might be dealing with a situation where more eruptions might occur rather soon. I've looked at seismic activity. I don't see anything suspicious at the present. That doesn't mean that we simply just might not be detecting it. However, I'm going to call this part of the eruption over. Maybe in a month or so, we might have a rebound like we had after November 10th, where an eruption was literally 5-ish minutes from occurring, but then nothing happened. So this could be some cyclical thing. The reason why I'm being so hypothetical is we really aren't sure which of these possibilities is correct. I'm just giving you everyone multiple possibilities. Oh, here we go. Let me zoom in on the a little bit of spattering going on there. Tilt up the camera. So yes, in the snow, we have a little bit of, I wouldn't call this a hornito, but it is essentially a feature where the slow movement of the lava, which you can't see, because it's incredibly viscous, is creating weak points where just material will ooze up. And then you have ignition from just weak burning, low temperature burning material, there's no sulfur burning, otherwise you'd have blue, but this area will probably have fumaroles and just neat little yellow deposits within a few days. I'm going to quickly go back down because I'm a little too high up. Let me reduce the zoom to 2. Let's tilt up so everyone can get a broader view. So we can get a good map. I'm just going to quickly zoom to the right, zoom to the left. A little more. Give everybody a good view. And of course, we can see remnants of the Fagradolsviak lava flows in the distance over here. Because there were 2 different fissures, there's a little bit of the landscape which was not covered over there. There's Grindavik in the distance. And the geothermal power plant is out of view, but it would be, or no, you can see the steam rising. That's the Svartsengi geothermal plant. Let's tilt back down. I'm going to quickly look at questions from my audience. Oh yeah, I'll do an intro video and explain why I made this channel. So when some people think I sound rather robotic just because of my setup. So I have autism, so I sound a little bit robotic. It's harder to show emotion when I'm reading off of a script, but when live, it's a little bit easier to sound more genuine, if that makes any sense. So what we're looking at here, you can see where the lava was once erupting from the central crater. There's a little bit of subsidence and subsidence cracks already, which is another indication that we're not really going to get any more fresh lava for a decent amount of time. I was initially concerned that if lava kept erupting, then we'd get a hazard of somewhat explosive lava-snow interaction, but that doesn't appear to have occurred because the eruption is essentially over at this point. So just reminding everybody, the Reykjanes Volcano is a different system than the Fagradalsfjall volcano, which was tourist-friendly. This is not tourist-friendly. You cannot go here because they have different...
Tim, can you... sorry, Tim, to butt in. Would you mind coming down to below 150 meters? Because we're a little bit high up at the moment.
Yep, sorry. I'll go down. Let's go closer. I'll try to go to 100. Now let's just zoom in. I'm just quickly go to 8x zoom. So yes, you can see a little bit of neat blocky lava bombs that were ejected, but happened to remain in the crater at the very end of the eruption. Isn't this just so neat, everybody? Just so much fun. It's a shame the eruption ended early, but we're also quite glad it did because we didn't want any homes to be destroyed. We didn't want Iceland to have a reduced power supply, so as a whole, we are quite glad it ended so soon. Here's some more of just fire. Let's see what everyone's saying. I know, yeah, this is quite a nice image. It's quite cool. Nope, not that low.
So I think what's happened here, Tim, is that the Earth has become up a lot more since the volcano. So we're getting a false reading on that altimeter on the left there. I think we're much lower than we think we are.
Yeah, I'm assuming so, because this looks a lot. So I'm gonna just head up slightly.
You are at twice zoom, just to remind you.
Okay. Go to 1. Because the entire ground has been... So beforehand, this area had been pushed up by about 35 centimeters. And then when the eruption occurred, there was about 8 centimeters of subsidence. Because there's some magma which didn't erupt, there will likely be further subsidence in the future. While that continues to cool, that could take a decent amount of time. You guys can probably hear my cat meowing in the background. He wants to go in front of my web camera. Let's see, everyone's saying. I know the marvels of modern technology. You guys can, if you guys, Nature Eye has any slots available, you too can fly this drone and see for yourself what the volcano currently looks like at natureeye.com. Pan down.
So Tim, you might want to come a little bit higher. I'm losing signal.
Yeah, I'm not able to pan down at the moment.
Let me just pop up.
Yeah, let's see.
Here we go.
There we go. I'm at the edge of the range. May have to head back soon. Does anyone in my audience have further questions? Cat cam, maybe. My cat is quite a mush, or at least that's a term my family created for him. He's a no thoughts, head empty cat. So note these fractures here, these cracks these align with the fissures that occurred because the stresses were essentially the same. The lava was pushing towards the east, but because of uneven movement, because of cooling, it expanded in a perfect alignment with the fissures to the to the west. Okay, we may have to go back to the starting point. Built up. Okay, we're at the...
Oh yeah, Tim. It's returning because of battery.
Yeah,
you can still move the camera up and down if you want to point something out.
Okay, let's do that. So the reason, like I said, there were 5 fissures, but these fissures were not continuous, and there was a gap between 2 of them, hence why the fissure from one end went to the right, fissure from the northern end went to the left, and it's just a little teeny tiny gap. For all we know, this could be a location of a future hiking trail we go in the middle, but it's not quite safe yet. Still high levels of sulfur dioxide being emitted. So if you were to, if it becomes allowed to travel to this field, I want to remind everyone to not try smoking marshmallows on this, because the sulfur dioxide and the hydrogen sulfide will combine with the water in the marshmallow to create sulfuric acid. You really don't want to eat that. So please do not cook food above the lava flows, as fun as it might sound. So I'm going to quickly tilt the camera back up. Fagradolsviak is technically a Toya, although it's not as magnificent as the Toya known as Herderbraid, which is east of the Askja volcano in the central of Iceland. Let's see what the comments are saying. Will the volcano possibly erupt in 2024 if this volcano even has a chance to erupt again in the future? I'm going to say yes. It could potentially. Remember that this is just merely the 5th intrusion. There were 4 intrusions beforehand that did not end up resulting in an eruption. And those occurred 3 in 2020 and then 1 in 2022, but both of those stalled around 5 kilometers depth around Svartsengi. The dike which developed was that occurred when it found a path of least resistance on the 5th intrusion, about 5 kilometers depth, suddenly shot towards the east, and then went into a pre-existing zone of weakness in the crust from the divergent plate boundary of North American plate and Eurasian plate spreading apart. And because the stresses aren't 100% even, instead of being simply perfect perpendicular motion to the plate spreading, it was a tilted version where you have instead of just being 90 degrees, it was more so 45-ish degrees, 60 degrees. Let's see if there's any more questions. Yeah, the bar at the top is the time left, and below the exclamation point is where the drone automatically returns, because of course it has a set battery life. Let's see, I'm gonna pan down. You can see all these teeny tiny little lava boulders that there once were. We're heading back to the parking lot that you would take for the Fagradolsfiak eruptions. Of course, this area is currently not open because of the eruption, but let's see. Any more questions, anybody? Has there ever been an incident where lava has gone up the boreholes of the geothermal plant? Well, yes, but not Svartsengi. Oh, yes, there are fail-safes. So you may have heard him a few times, but I have a co-pilot. He's actually currently operating the drone. The co-pilot will prevent you from crashing and will take over if you get too low, get too high, get too close to a object you do not want. But you can use the natureye.com service to fly for a fee at certain locations around the world, including in Botswana, where you can see game animals like zebras, lions, etc., or over the Fagradolsfiak and Reykjanes eruptions. So, although we do not have final statistics, there's a decent indication, my personal estimate, that it covered about 4.72 square kilometers, probably 33 million cubic meters of lava erupted. For comparison, Fagradolsfiak's 6-month-long 2021 eruption was about 150 million cubic meters. The shorter 2022 eruption was 12 million cubic meters, and the 2023 eruption was about 28 million cubic meters. So it's larger than the 2022 and 2023 eruptions, but not much in case of the 2023 eruption. Is there another volcano on the peninsula likely to erupt in the near future? I'm not going to say near future, but potentially Fagradolsfiak again. There was a weird moment around October 23rd to 29th, where it almost appeared that magma at depth of around 15 kilometers suddenly shot in the direction east, because you saw a few eastward trending quakes. It appears to have contacted the Fagradolsfiak magma chamber, but then it suddenly went back, and we're not exactly sure why that occurred. Volcano enthusiasts might be a little bit annoyed that the eruption is over. I'm not, because remember, day one, I was assuming that Greenavik was going to be largely destroyed or partially destroyed based on the sheer volume of material that we had erupting. That was approximately, when it started out with 400 cubic meters per second. Usually when you have eruptions like that, it's going to stay at such a high rate for months. Oh, so how has the town fared since the eruption? It's still completely evacuated, but it did not suffer any damage from the eruption. Lava did not get any closer than 3 kilometers. Does this volcano have similar behavior to Krafla, where eruptions are facilitated by faults expanding? Absolutely. I'm glad that you brought that up. So I'm going to quickly change the live stream. Just want to make it set to a different tab for a moment because we're done with the fun Nature Eye flight. Let's quickly go to YouTube. Give me a moment, everybody. Because, this is my first live stream. I'm just, learning the reins. Let's see. Let's change the tab. Let's see. Stop screen sharing. Share screen. So I'm just going to go to quickly. So Krafla. during the 70s and 80s, it had a case of 20 intrusions resulting in 9 eruptions. That's essentially what we had with the Reykjanes fires. So volcanoes on the peninsula, they start... So this peninsula, you have, if you're going far west, you have Eldi in the ocean. You then go east, you get Reykjanes. Further east, you have Fagradalsfjall. Further east, you have Krýsuvík. And then further east, you have the... Oh gosh, a volcano which I cannot pronounce. It begins with B. So someone had previously been asking what happens when lava goes into a borehole. Technically, it'd be magma. That actually occurred at Krafla, where we, not me, of course, I wasn't involved in the operation. Yeah, Brennisteinfjall, I'm butchering that name. I apologize in advance to my Iceland viewers. Oh, you were stationed at the Naval Monitoring Station. Yeah, so the town did suffer minor damage during the expansion cracks on November 10th, but luckily there was... oh yeah, there's Hengil, but that's further east of Brennisteinfjall. You see, I'm struggling with these names too. Oh, there is a volcano name I can't pronounce. And Eyjafjallajökull, I'm butchering that too, was the 2010 eruption. So I'm going to quickly change screen again. So I can't remember what year it was, but at the Krafla volcano, they were trying to drill down to make a geothermal well. They didn't expect magma to be so shallow, and about 3 to 4 kilometers depth, they struck a rhyolitic magma chamber. And that resulted in the drill being toast, so the operators were not happy. Volcanic gases immediately shot up, and you just had this giant plume with hydrogen sulfide, sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide coming up, but no one was harmed. No eruption occurred. That's why I sort of cringe when people suggest that if you drill down and accidentally strike a volcano, that it will suddenly erupt. That's not how it works. Although it's a fun science fiction plot device, that doesn't happen in the real world. Replace the J with the Y and feel, so feel, yes. Eyjafjallajökull. Well, that's, I believe that's somewhat closer. Maybe could calculate the system magma flow by estimated total ejection. I tried doing that with integrals, and I couldn't get a number that I was confident around, so I just didn't include that in my video. Someone was earlier asking if I would call this a flood basalt. The answer is no, not even close. There haven't been any flood basalt eruptions for 5.1 million years, and those occurred all the way west in North America, in Oregon, Washington, the Columbia River flood basalts. However, there is a part of Iceland, well, yeah, more fantasy fiction, yes. There is a location, Iceland, between Katla, Hekla, and Bardabuka Greensvan, where there can actually be the closest we will ever get to flood basalts, but aren't flood basalts, where you remember Lackey in 1783 to 1784. That was 9 months of Lackey covered 565 square kilometers, output a total of 14.7 cubic kilometers of magma. Just so you can understand how large that is, the eruption that just occurred and is now over was 33 million cubic meters. That was 14.7 billion cubic meters of material, and was so destructive that it resulted in half of the livestock in Iceland being killed off, and a quarter of Iceland's population, which was equated to around 10,000 deaths due to fluorine poisoning. We do not want that to occur again. Although I will say that the Bardabuka 2014-2015 eruption, it was fairly voluminous in comparison to other world eruptions. covered around 96 square kilometers, but because it wasn't explosive at all, there was no harm, no foul. Oh yes, bonjour to Cyril Corin. I'm going to be ending the stream in a few minutes. Do you guys have any more questions? Yeah, Elgja, that was the Bardabuka one. Best bet guess for the next VEI5 eruption. Well, if you had asked me this question 5 years ago, I would have, or 3 years ago, I would have said Sakurajima in Japan. But then we got Hunga Tunga Hunga Ha'apai. That was a VEI6, just barely. Info on the Ramon crater. Don't know where to look. I could always just write that down so I can potentially make a video, a topic on that in the future. Yeah, the stream should stay on YouTube. Where's the cat cam? Okay, everyone wants the cat. I'm going to quickly head away and grab the cat. So I'll be right back, everybody. Let me just grab the cat. I have 3, but I'm going to grab the one that was at my door. Give me a moment. I am back with cat. Okay, cat cam time. Okay, everyone can see this no thoughts, head empty face. He has big eyes, but I assure you he's not scared. He just always has big eyes. This is Steve. He's a big boy, 12.4 pounds. So he's usually on my lap, just relentlessly purring and doing other cat activities that would be most expected of your standard one brain cell orange cat. So, no. So I have 2 tuxedos. He's the bigger one. It's quite funny because despite being the biggest cat, oh no, he's just, these are all, I'll have, all my cats are mutts. Steve gets beat up by the smaller tuxedo. They're brothers, so they enjoy each other, but he's definitely the lowest on the pecking order, despite being the biggest cat. So I'm gonna end the stream for now. Once again, thanks everybody for coming in and watching the live stream. It's more so, Super Hands is asking, why did my voice get a lot closer to the mic over the years? Yes, I have, you can't see it, but below the camera, I have this foam wall that's meant to remove background noise because I'm sort of in an enclosed cubby where my computer is. You can't see it. And you know the strips you have on highways to reduce sound, essentially the same thing. So Merry Christmas, everybody. I know it's 4 days early, but happy holidays to everyone else. So yes, this will become a stream afterwards. So thank you everybody once again. And this live stream is sponsored by natureye.com, who gave me a free live stream via remotely controlling their drone all the way from Arizona. So thank you everybody for checking in. I'm going to turn off the stream. So thanks everybody.